I've got Baylor going 8-4, but with a huge win in Waco later in the year over Texas Tech.
Okay, so Baylor in front of Bear fans.
Yep.
Are beating the new class of the conference in Texas Tech.
Let's assume for our purposes here.
And is this Texas Tech's only loss? They go 11-1 and Baylor's that one?
I don't know. Sure.
Stick in the mud?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
Let's say yes. Now, I should point out that the week before Baylor plays host to Texas Tech at McLean Stadium in Waco, they are on the road in Lavelle Edwards Stadium squaring off against BYU. So that's a really tough stretch. And you could go a step further and say, well, they close out the year on the road at Houston as well. And I think Houston will be maybe not as good as those other teams, but that's not an easy game by any stretch.
Also, if Texas Tech is what we think Texas Tech will be, whether or not it's part of your hypothetical or not, independent of that, if Texas Tech is excellent, like we think they should be, that's one hell of a letdown spot for Baylor.
Oh, big time.
If Baylor's pretty good. Yeah. Going to Houston to finish out the year. Yeah.
So I've got an 8-4 Baylor, a big win at home in front of the home crowd over Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But still 8-4. It's 8-4 with DJ Lagway coming to town.
Mm-hmm. It's
8-4 with yet another off-season semi-reboot of the defense, or at least who's calling the defense. It is 8-4. It is still Baylor kind of trapped in this in-between of feeling like they could do better. They might have the talent to do better, but yet something's still holding them back from getting there. 8-4, big home win. Is that enough to feel good about Dave Aranda and retain his services?
So basically giving him
one more chance.
Yeah.
Was that you?
What do you mean?
One more chance.
Did you do some singing?
Is that me singing? Yeah. People often mistake the power of my voice for Freddie Mercury's. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. So some important things here. So 8-4 likely means that the new defensive coordinator brought over from Kansas State has figured some stuff out because they were disastrous once again last year on defense. And they had a pretty bad defense even when they went 8-4, right? A couple years ago.
Right.
So you're saying they have done enough on offense to be able to take apart on some level the Texas Tech defense, that they've lost, like if you're just doing the math here, that their losses are probably in the range of at BYU, maybe at Arizona State, Auburn, TCU, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 of those.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. You're probably also, again, if you're going to have an offense that's good enough to beat Texas Tech and take it to their defense to whatever level, that probably means DJ Lagway is 1, healthy, and 2, pretty good. But if he's healthy and pretty good, he might be leaving after this year, just in terms of like how you evaluate Dave Aranda's future. I'm going to say 8-4 is fine, but there is another element to all of this as well. The Baylor AD is not Mac Rhodes anymore.
No.
It's a new AD.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Who they hired away from Field and Stream magazine. That's not fully fair. I think it's Dave McNamee. He was like a senior associate AD for Baylor in the 2010s, but the past few years he has been a magazine editor. So this is not his guy specifically. He did not hire Dave Aranda, even though there is a Dave to Dave connection here at Baylor. Number 1, tailor your setup. Number 2, fish the right glide bait. Number 3, water and color choice. Number 4, vary your retrieve. Number 5, horse the fish to the boat. This is the lead story on the current website of Field and Stream, which, by the way, terrific logo. Really like the Field and Stream logo.
I'm looking at it right now.
Those are 5 beginner tips for fishing glide baits.
Are you a fisherman?
I am not at all a fish. I do enjoy fish as a food.
Okay.
And I've enjoyed snorkeling with fish. I enjoy seeing exotic tanks.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not anti. I would love to go fishing. I would love to add fishing to my old man repertoire.
I'm out.
On fishing or on Baylor? Or both?
No, on fishing. I I get bored out of my mind.
Oh,
I think it's a wonderful hobby.
Yeah.
For people who are into it.
Yeah.
I just get too bored too quick.
I think it's a lot of
I
just
could never
like
do it.
drinking cold beer as well with people.
I mean, which I'm not anti.
Right.
That I would probably enjoy that part of it more than the actual art of fishing.
Yeah.
I could probably get into fly fishing. I think there's probably an art there.
You like to be on your feet.
Yeah, there's an art there if I were to get into this at all, it would need to be something that's a little bit more active than just sort of casting a line in and waiting for the bob to go. You know what I mean?
So if we're going to connect this to Dave Aranda, it's waiting and waiting and waiting to turn a major corner once again and get back to where he was a few years ago.
Yeah. That was a good tie-in. That was good.
I think it's enough because when you get to that 8-win mark and you have that season of clear improvement and it's punctuated at the end of the year with a huge win. Now you're talking about, okay, we can get to 9-4 with a bowl win. We're talking about 9 games being 4 games. That's quick math, better than where they were last year and not making a bowl game. So you can talk yourself into a trend. Now, if you lose the games in embarrassing fashion, if you're still not fixing the defense, but you're winning shootouts and they lose maybe to Houston at the end of the season after beating Texas Tech, the vibes don't survive in the same way.
Well, here was my next question.
Yeah.
And I also thought about going in this direction with it.
Yeah. Is this about glide baits or about Dave Aranda?
No, this is about Dave Aranda.
Okay.
So let's assume that if we want to spin this a different way.
Yeah.
Week 1 loss, neutral site game against Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Playing that one in Atlanta. But then they rip off 8 in a row. Start the year 8-1. Beat Prairie View, La Tech, Colorado, Arizona State in the road, TCU, Kansas, UCF, and Iowa State.
Yeah. Which is not a terrible thing to consider if Baylor's legitimately good. Yeah.
8-1 start. You go 8-1 against that. They're a top 15 team, right?
Definitely. If not more. Yeah.
But close out the year 0-3 at BYU, home against Texas Tech, on the road at Houston.
So sadness
still
bookending.
Still 8-4, but to your point, the texture of the season is a lot different based on when the losses occur.
Right.
What happens then?
I think they're still fine. I think he's still likely fine because those losses are at least on some level, if they're losing 28-23 or something like that, they're more justifiable. You think he's toast at 8-4?
In that scenario, yeah. But the first one that I presented,
I mean, there's a really good chance
fence.
Houston's like a top 20 team. Their schedule's great, right?
Houston's schedule is Houston's schedule is very workable.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like the long view of Baylor football, obviously starting in the 20-teens with Art Briles having some really good Baylor teams, and then a year of good Matt Rule, and basically a year of good Dave Aranda. Like really, really strong Dave Aranda. I mean, like finishing the season ranked. I don't think there's some expectation of annual top 15, top 17 teams in Waco. So, yes, obviously the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma is different than it was in those eras with dominant Texas and Oklahoma programs. But I tend to think he's still okay. So in your alt scenario, he's losing to Texas Tech. So
in my alt scenario, he loses the last 3 games of the year.
Because you're also saying that he's going 8-3 in the Big 12, which puts you in like the like erotic tiebreaker zone, right? That you're like, if you're in the this is TY breaker, I guess at this point. If you're in Ty's dreams about what needs to happen to make the Big 12 championship game, if you're in that conversation, which you would be in November at 8-3,
right?
You're like, well, if Baylor beats Houston, like, I don't know. Then you're talking about Baylor on the at or near the top tier of the conference, and I think that's totally fine, if not excellent.